This is Parker, and Parker is a 6-year-old Dachshund, and he likes to sit pretty. You gotta think of a name for this, so every time he does that, pet him, use that passive training to say grovel or whatever the word is you want to do. In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can teach your dog to focus. He has an issue. He likes to bark at people who pass by. He nips guests when they come in, and so I want to give the guardians a way to redirect his attention away from things. Now, most trainers will teach a dog to look at your face by going like this. They hold a treat up here, and that's luring him to look up here. I do it in a different way. I have about 12 treats here in my hand, and I want to be down at the dog's level. Dogs produce, I can't remember the third one, but oxytocin, serotonin, and another is the pleasure endorphins. They go into your brain. Dogs and humans also produce cortisol. Cortisol goes in your blood and is the stress hormone. It accelerates your breathing and respiratory and prepares you for fight or flight. But it also shuts down all non-essential items. So if your dog is really twitchy, a lot of times that means, excuse me, a lot of times that means they have cortisol in their blood, and now it's a physical manifestation as well as psychological. The reason I mention all of this is your body cannot produce cortisol at the same time it produces the pleasure endorphins. If a dog voluntarily looks you in the eye for longer than 9 seconds, it starts to release oxytocin, serotonin, and I can't remember the third one, into your brain and to the dog's brain. But if you lure the dog, it doesn't work. So I got 12 treats here. I'm going to hold one treat between my thumb and forefinger in this hand, and I'm going to put them both on my knees. Now this is what the dogs do, is they go and lick your, and I haven't done this with him yet. So they're going to lick, he's going to try to take it. And I'm not moving my hand away at all. What I'm doing is I'm watching him like a hawk. When you do this, do not take your eyes off the dog. The only way he's going to get this treat is by looking in the face. Now he's going to try to take it first by just going straight to the source, but I'm holding it in such a way that he can't. But the instant he looks at me, I'm going to raise to my nose, and I'm going to go a straight line from my nose to his mouth, and I'm going to say the word focus to eventually create a command word. Now when you do this, watch their eyes, because it could be just an eye flicker is sufficient. And sometimes it takes a couple minutes, and that's okay. Now I do cheat occasionally, and I'll blow a little bit at the dog, but you don't want to say their name or do anything else. Focus. Then I immediately reload, and what we should see as we do this video is him looking up at me faster and faster. It takes anywhere from like 2 to 20 treats. And he's a little guy, so I actually took the Tricky Trainer chicken liver treats that I like to use, and I tore them in half, make them last a little bit longer. Focus. This is a form of operant conditioning as well, which is a lot of what I do. So I'm waiting for the dog to do it. I'm creating a scenario where they can do a couple options. One of them is what I want. If he does what I want, something good happens, and I mark it with a command word, focus. If he does anything else, nothing happens. The only way you get the treat is looking me in the face. And again, like I said, what we should see is him looking at me faster and faster and doing less licking. Focus. It's like almost like you understood what I just said. Focus. Now I'm going to count it out for you because there's a certain duration that I want you to do. I don't want you to hold it at the end of your nose. And it's 1 second up, 1 second, focus. So 1 second, 1 second, and don't hold it at your nose. So that's the first stage. So you want to do this for all 12 treats, 1 second up, 1 second down. Eventually you're going to do it like this. Focus. Now, when you're doing it, you should see in the dog's eyes the whole time. The reason we're going from here to here is we want to promote that eye contact. You saw at the end he jumped up for the treat because we're not ready for that. What you want to do is for all 12 treats, 1 second, 1 second. Until pretty much he's given up on licking or pawing at your hand and just looking at you the whole time. Then we go 1 second, 2 seconds for the second movement only for all 12 treats. And next time or a time after that, we do 1 second, 3 seconds for the second movement. Eventually it gets to the point where it's 15 seconds for this second movement. The movement up to your nose is always only 1 second, and don't pause it at your nose. So this is the first stage. You want to get to this 15-second stage within 7 days maximum. Clients that work on this can usually get there about 3 to 4 days, some faster even than that. But if you go longer than a week, they will lose interest and go elsewhere. Now, so basically, I don't want to do it just here. I want to do it here, there, downstairs in the kitchen, dining room, bedrooms. So dogs don't generalize well. You have to practice things in a whole different variety of environments for them to actually have them. So once you can get them to focus for 15 seconds without lurching for it in the house, the next stage is to do it outside. And you do it outside. Go outside first and let him sniff around and get all of his fun out. And once he's done, he's kind of relaxed. Then you go over there and you sit down and you do it again. But now we can go a little bit faster. We go back to, because it's harder, because it's outside with the distraction, we go back to 1, 1, focus. And don't count it out loud, I'm just counting for you guys. But now maybe I can go maybe 1, 1 for 3 treats, then 1, 2 for 3 treats, and then 3 for 3 treats. So you can move faster once you get outside. But I'll go at your dog's pace. If your dog looks away, you need to practice at the previous mark a couple more times. You want to build success on success. So now we can do outside, and within about 2 or 3 days, you should be able to get stay focused, and that dog snaps up and looks at you while you're outside. But when you're doing it inside at first, and when you're doing it outside, make sure there's no other dogs or cats or squirrels or other stuff that's going on. Nobody's eating food in here. We want to make it easy while we're learning. Eventually, you can use this when the dog is distracted, like before somebody comes to the door or is walking by. So that's the second stage. The third stage is we're going to do it on a walk. Now, we're doing it on a walk. What we're going to do is we're going to change from holding the treat down here to verbally cueing the dog. So while we're walking and the dog's next to us and there's no reason for the dog to be barking or anything, we just say focus. The dog looks up at us. Now I go raise it up and go back down in their mouth and say focus. You have to dip down a little bit, being smaller dogs. And so now we're doing this without stopping. So as you're walking, the dog's kind of walking along. You say focus. It looks up and then the treat comes down. And eventually we go 1 second and eventually get to the point where it's 15 seconds coming down. And your dog's like walking into stuff because it's not paying attention where it's going. It's looking at you. Dogs, these guys especially, are scent animals. They should meet by scent. So if they're seen by sight, which is what happens with the window here and through the door and everything else, they're not getting what they should get when they're meeting people. So because the visual is now a trigger for him, if now we're on a walk, you see somebody coming by, you bark at them, you say focus, he looks up at you, and then you turn and walk away. Or if he sees about to start barking at somebody, you say, or about to do something you don't like, you say focus, and he looks away, and then you get him to come to him, you get him to come to you, and then you give him a reward, and you can lead him away. So this is kind of a preemptive measure. Now, you can also use this, once you have this base set, I want you guys to practice all the stuff that we talked about for about a month. And after a month, if you're still having the reactivity issues with him, there's an exercise that we can build on this exercise. I'm not going to go through it now because I think that once you guys enforce rules and structures, especially you, that you're going to be able to get past this without needing it. If we need to, we'll set up a follow-up session. We'll work on this. But for now, crash. Again, passive training. So for now, have everybody in the house practice this. Do this with each dog, so you can practice with all the dogs, and do it separately. Don't practice 2 dogs in the room. There's 3 Dachshunds in the house. And you want to get all of them to the point where you say, focus, and all 3 of them look up at you. Instead of right now, all 3 of them sing when they're not making the dinner fast enough. Well, this is Parker. Can we get you up? How about we get you over there? Let's let everybody see how handsome you are, buddy. Sit. This is Parker, and this is how you can teach your dog to focus, to stop it from barking at people, nipping them, or just to redirect their attention.